A couple of weeks ago, 2-3 weeks ago, I did a video called American Women Are Garbage. And in that video, I casually mentioned that, Eastern European women, they're too much for Western guys. They're way too much. And because of this offhand comment, a lot of guys have commented to me and asked me to do a video on Eastern European women. So here you go. Well, the obvious question arises is, how do I know anything about Eastern European women? Well, I married an Eastern European woman, a Ukrainian woman, right? And I live here in Ukraine. I live in Kharkiv, which is literally a stone's throw away from the Russian border. Yeah, I'm 40 clicks away from Russia itself, yeah? And so I've been here, 4 years? I don't know how long I've been here. I've off and on, I've been coming here since 2012 and whatnot. So anyway, the point is that I know Eastern European women, okay? I know them enough to know that there are certain points of commonality to all of them. And it's because of the socioeconomic environment of Eastern Europe that Eastern European women are a certain way, which is radically different from Western women, okay? And now let me explain. See, the first thing you have to understand is that in Eastern Europe, Eastern Europe is poor. I mean, the former countries of the Soviet Union, or the countries of the former Soviet Union, are not rich countries. The government is not going to bail you out, okay? You're not going to get an unemployment check. You're not going to get, government money if you're a single mother, okay? This is very important. Because, you see, traditionally, not traditionally, let me phrase that. Because of evolution, okay? Because of evolution, we are social animals and we pair bond, a man and a woman forming a family, because a woman on her own cannot generate the resources to look after herself and her children. She needs assistance. And so that's why the whole man-woman pair bonding thing happened and the whole nuclear family shit happened. And this is from the dawn of the species, okay? This is not like, the patriarchy today. No, this is biological reality, okay? A woman cannot generate the resources to survive both herself and her offspring. She needs a guy. She needs a guy to get those resources. And so that's how human families evolved. And that's the case in Eastern Europe. You see, because the government cannot help you, because there are just not enough resources for the country to help single mothers, a woman has to find a guy and latch onto him, okay? And because of that, Eastern European women, what happens with them? They are a lot more attractive. They put on makeup, they wear nice clothes, all the rest of it. Why? Because they want to get a guy. You see, in the West, a woman can survive on her own. With the government's assistance, she can get the resources to have a kid on her own. But on top of that, you have the issue that in the West, a lot of women have been socialized into not wanting children altogether, whereas in Eastern Europe, that is not the case. Eastern European women, they want to have a family of their own. It's something that they aspire to. Unlike Western women who aspire to having a career. It's only when these poor Western women hit their 40s that they realize that it was a colossal waste of time and they threw their lives away pursuing a career rather than a family. Eastern European women are not so stupid. And so because they have their priorities in order, Eastern European women realize that they have to find a guy. And a guy who's going to be tough enough to survive and thrive and get the resources in this very difficult environment that is Eastern Europe. Yeah, she can't have a weakling. Simple as that. Not in Eastern Europe, because Eastern Europe is too hard of a place for a weakling to thrive. Okay? So she needs a guy who's going to be tough. And so what is she going to be doing all the time with the guy, at least in the initial phase, right? She is going to be making sure that the guy is tough enough to provide for her. Not merely that he has money now, that's good and fine, but that he is mentally, strong enough to gather the resources into the future, that he's not some fucking loser. That's what she's going to be testing for. And that's why she is going to be relentlessly shit testing any guy that she thinks about seriously. Yeah, I mean, what are shit tests? In the pickup artist community, they talk about shit tests all the time. It's when a woman, says something that sort of discombobulates the guy. Says something that, questions his masculinity, questions his ability, questions whatever, questions him. What's a shit test? Well, it's a compliance test. You know, like in product testing, it's testing to see if the product in front of you is up to spec. That's the whole point of a shit test, okay? And the guys who successfully navigate shit tests are the guys who are signaling to women, or the women are deriving from the successful navigation of a shit test, that the guy, yes, he's tough enough to handle her, ergo, he's likely tough enough to handle whatever life throws his way. That's the point of shit tests. And Eastern European women throw them relentlessly. Yeah, at least in the initial phase, okay? You're romancing an Eastern European girl? Oh, at first, all kinds of shit tests, right? And they're always done jokingly and with a smile, but they're dead serious because they gotta make sure that you're up to snuff. I mean, because of if she decides to be with you, let alone get married to you and have kids with you, well, she's got to make sure that you're tough enough to take care of her and the kids. See, she doesn't want some fucking bum, huh? And that's why she's shit testing. And that's why so many Eastern European guys are fucking alcoholics, because life in Eastern Europe is difficult. And so what happens is that a lot of Eastern European guys just can't handle it. They can't succeed. They can't succeed, and so they find refuge in the bottle, because they're certainly not finding any kind of refuge with the woman. Because the woman, she sees a guy who's not successful, her man, right? Her husband, the father of her kids, right? He's not successful. Dude, she is going to fucking nag him to death. Nag him and nag him and nag him and nag him until the guy is going to just go to the bottle just as a refuge. And it becomes a self-reinforcing cycle, of course. That's the story of Eastern Europe. It's not complicated. See, Eastern European guys are finding, like I said, refuge in the bottle. And because of that, the women think less of them, and so the guys drink even more, and they just go down the tubes. And that's why you have so much alcoholism in Eastern Europe. Another thing that's going on with Eastern European men is that they tend to project out into the world a level of success that is not accurate, to put it mildly, yeah? They're bullshitters in the sense that they try to show a facade of wealth, of success, which is just not accurate. And Eastern European women have been burned enough by this that they're constantly poking to see if you have any money for real. Because it's all good and fine to splash out on an expensive meal or show up in a fancy car, right? But they constantly want to check if you're for real, because Eastern European men will splash out for the expensive car and then they'll live in a fucking hovel. I'm not kidding, right? And so because of this, a lot of Western European men and American men, I mean Western men in general, they tend to think that Eastern European women are gold diggers, because they're constantly poking to see if the guy actually has money. They're constantly asking him to buy stuff for him, for her rather. And it's not that they're gold diggers. Well, of course some are, that's normal everywhere in the world. But most of the time, they want to make sure that the level of material success that you're projecting is for real and not bullshit, because Eastern European guys do this all the fucking time. Okay, that's insofar as just Eastern European guys. What about Western guys? Western guys who want to get with an Eastern European girl. Okay, so you're a millennial, you're a Zoomer, some shit like that, right? And so you've been socialized into being the nice guy, right? You've been socialized into trying to please the girl, please her whims. Is this going to succeed for you with an Eastern European goddess? No, 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 no. It's going to be a fucking disaster. And I've seen it so many times, man. I mean, these Western guys who think that they're going to get in good with some really just hot as blazes, 19-year-old Ukrainian goddess. She's like 10 feet tall, 90% of which are legs, right? And she's hot. I mean, she's got a great body, beautiful face, beautiful eyes. I mean, like blue, like the ocean, right? She is so hot. And so the guy is just like, he melts like butter and just tries to please her. And what does she say about him? She says that he's a fucking weakling and she wants nothing to do with him because she agrees, she'll say rather, that he agrees with everything she says and she hates that. Yeah, that's the truth. You agree with Eastern European women? Yeah, or let me phrase that. You fail to make it through her shit tests, yeah, and she's going to discard you. She's going to chew you up and spit you out. And she's not stupid either. You know, a lot of Eastern European girls, they see some loser, weakling chump who just agrees to everything that she says. And so she's going to say, oh, let's go to the really expensive restaurant, you know, and she'll order like lobster and steak or whatever the fuck, right? Why? Because the guy, the Western guy, is a fucking nice guy chump who agrees to every ridiculous desire of this girl, trying to be nice, trying to be a nice guy, trying to get her, okay? She sees through this and she takes advantage of it. Not because she's a woman and not because she's Eastern European, but because she's a human being. When human beings see a weakling who is willing to give resources for free, what do you think we do as a species, as human beings? Not women, not men, not Eastern European, no. As people, what do? We take advantage of that chump. And that's what happens all the time with all these weakling Westerners who come to Ukraine or Belarus or Russia or whatnot looking for these beautiful Slavic goddesses who take one look at them, one look, and know that the guy is a fucking chump. Eastern European girls don't want a chump, they want a man. They always say it, that they want a man made of stone, okay? That's what they say every single fucking time that you ask them. They want a man made of stone. What does that mean? It's a man who is indifferent to her. See? And this is hard. Yeah, you're meeting some girl who's incredibly gorgeous, and on top of that, the Eastern European women, like I said, they take care of their appearance. They are thin, they eat right, they do some exercise, they wear nice makeup, nice clothes. I mean, they will go hungry rather than not look their best. Serious, okay? For them, it's a point of pride to look their absolute best. And so what happens is that these Eastern European women, right, they want a guy made of stone. And what is that? What is a guy made of stone? A man of stone for them is a man who is completely self-confident and masculine, who knows what he wants and pursues it and is indifferent to what anybody else, including what the woman, wants. Yeah, this is the key issue, see? The Eastern European women want to follow a man, see? They don't want to be a partner. No, they want to follow him. And they're very self-conscious about it, okay? And of course, there are exceptional women. Of course, there are some women who have become very westernized. But the vast majority of Eastern European women, they want a man made of stone. They want a man whom they will follow. They say it all the time. And you should believe people when they say what they want, okay? Because a lot of times it's fucking true. In this case, it's fucking true. See? Let me give you a specific example. Suppose you are talking to your Eastern European hottie, right? You're talking on the phone or texting or whatever the fuck, right? And you're in, I don't know, some major city. And so you say to her, let's go out. Let's go to this restaurant here. Mm-hmm. See, immediately, you say where to go. You don't ask her, oh, should we go here or should we go there? Where should we go? I don't know. No, you don't do that. You say, we're going to go here because I've heard that this is a good place, okay? And what's she going to say? She's going to say, no, I want to go over here, okay? And a lot of times she'll say that she wants to go someplace else, not because she wants to go someplace else. She wants to go to the place that you mentioned, but she wants to go to this other place, or says that she wants to go to this other place just to see your reaction, okay? And what reaction does she want? She wants you to say, no, I want to go over here because I heard that this place over here is really good and I want to go there. And she'll be like, oh, but I really want to go someplace else. And you'll be like, no, we're going to go here because I heard it. I want to go there. If you don't want to come with me, that's fine. I'll just go by myself. That's what you have to do. And what will happen is that she'll be like, well, okay, let's go where you said. Now, notice, I didn't do it like an asshole. That's the point. That's the key issue. A lot of Western guys don't understand that being assertive and being self-confident and decisive does not mean being an asshole. You can be very polite and very easygoing in your inflexibility. But that's what they want. They want inflexibility. They want a guy who is going to be indifferent to what she wants, that he will pursue his path irrespective of what she wants. Because like I said, Eastern European women want to follow a strong guy. That's what they want to do. And Western guys, especially young guys, they get eaten alive. They get just gobbled up and eaten alive, and not in the good sexual way. No. They get eaten alive like when a fucking giant shark eats a fucking minnow. Like in the not cool way, you know, in like the kind of way where you wind up being, eaten for breakfast and shit out by lunchtime. That kind of eaten alive kind of way. Yeah? And that's what happens because the Western guys have been socialized into being weaklings. That's the thing. Older guys, they come to Eastern Europe and they can handle their girls here. Yeah, because they understand it, because they're older, because they've had some ups and downs. They probably have an ex-wife in their wake. And so they know more or less how the man-woman thing is being played. And they like the fact that in Eastern Europe, right, the women are so fucking pragmatic. Because they want a guy, they want a family, and they want it right quick. Eastern European women, right? They want to get married and have a kid or two by the time they're 27, 30 at the latest, okay? I mean, have a couple of kids by the time they're 30. They don't want to be waiting around. They don't want to be pursuing any fucking career. They don't want a career, okay? For them, work is just a necessity. They don't want to work, okay? Because also what's happened is that in Western Europe and the United States, women most especially have been socialized and frankly brainwashed into believing that they will find personal satisfaction in their work. Whereas Eastern European women are under no such illusions. Eastern European women realize that work is work and it's not fun. And it's not someplace where you find yourself. They don't want to fucking find themselves on the fucking job. They want to find themselves in a family of their own, with kids of their own, and a husband of their own. They want that because they haven't been brainwashed. They haven't been socialized with this bullshit that women in the West have been. And women in the West, of course, they hit 40, 45. They're all alone except with their career that's going absolutely nowhere. And there are no family, no kids, no husband, no nothing. And they start hitting the bottle like there's no tomorrow, like the Eastern European men, right? Because they pursue the wrong fucking thing. Eastern European women are a lot smarter than that. And they're aware of what's going on in the West. They're not stupid. And they're like, I don't want any of that shit. I want a guy. I want a guy who's going to support me, who will give me an allowance every fucking month. And I want to have babies and go shopping. That's what I want to do. And so for a guy who wants to do that, who wants to find a hot young thing, have a bunch of babies, and take care of her, it's fucking paradise here. Yeah, I mean, because it really is. You walk down any street of any city and holy cow. I mean, you're going to see at least on any walkabout, say take an hour on like any city street in a fairly large Eastern European city, and every hour you will see at least 4 girls who could be professional models in the West. I mean, they are that fucking hot. I mean, they're blazing, right? They're unbelievably hot. Yeah? I mean, there's a reason that in the West, all the best hookers and escorts are Eastern European. It's not that all Eastern European women are hookers, okay? No, not at all. But what happens is that, see, the proportion of attractive women is so high that the hookers here, they're really hot, and so they realize they can get a hell of a lot more money in Western Europe and the United States, and so they go there to make the more money, right? But no, you know, the proportion of hookers and escort type and skanky women in Eastern Europe is the same proportionately as in Western Europe or the United States, okay? But in terms of sheer attractiveness, holy cow. I mean, unbelievably attractive. And it's not merely that they take care of themselves, they're just hotter. I mean, look, I've been to some countries in Latin America, like Bolivia, for instance. I mean, all the Bolivian women, they are fucking butt ugly. I'm sorry, you know, and anybody who's from Bolivia listening to me might get offended, but they know it's true because it is. Bolivian women are fucking ugly. They're all short, squat little things that you're not sure if they're, you know, taller or wider. I swear to God. And they're just butt ugly, period. And that's a fact. Well, Eastern Europe is the opposite of that, okay? And that's the truth. It's just... Anyway, the important thing here now, as I'm concluding this video, I've gone on quite a bit, I think, but the important thing to understand, okay, is that, see, if you want to get yourself an Eastern European girl, you got to be on your toes. You got to be in control. Simple as that. And if you're one of these like little whiny bitches, a man, an XY chromosome guy, but who's a fucking whiny bitch, you're going to have zero success in Eastern Europe. They're going to eat you alive because they can't stomach that weakness. Because that's what they perceive niceness to be, weakness. And they're not wrong. Being nice, being so polite and passive aggressive in how you pursue your objectives, that's weakness. That's not strength. On the contrary. And Eastern European know this. Eastern European women, rather, know this. And Eastern European women want nothing to do with that. And so if you want to handle an Eastern European woman, well, you better start growing a pair of balls. You know what I'm saying? Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. And if you did, please check out my Patreon channel. Link is in the description below. I put out an extra video there every Wednesday, and I also do a Sunday broadcast called the Weekly Webinar, which lasts 2 to 3 hours, and I take questions and comments from the audience, and it's a hell of a lot of fun. So please check it out. Thank you so much, and I will catch you next time.